Chris D'Elia finally came out and said something. Did you watch that video?
Yes, I did.
Oh my God. I literally, first of all, I was watching it with my brother in the room, and
I'm just so sorry. I just got caught up in all the pussy I was getting, and I just thought that as a famous person, I deserved pussy. So I would text like 500 girls a day to get pussy, and I did get all that pussy. And I'm just so sorry.
It was probably the world's best humble brag ever. I was like,
It was
okay,
insane.
Respect.
It was crazy. It was delusional.
Yes. So when it first came on, I remember I just went back to the YouTube homepage, and the first thing, because I did used to watch when he was doing the pod, I would watch like clips every now and then. Like, I kind of enjoyed his podcast. Like, some of his segments were funny.
The funny thing that happened to me on my end is I watched the video, and then like the next time I went on YouTube on the homepage, it was like, how did you like this video? And it was the Chris D'Elia apology video, and it wanted me to give like a star rating for it. Like, oh yeah, 5 stars. It was great.
Went up to 17 stars for some reason. But only 17 stars. Definitely not 18. And like I popped up and I was like, oh, no way. And it was like my brother, him, and his girlfriend in there. And like I knew his girlfriend didn't give a shit. And I knew that they were like trying to hang out. And I knew that I intruded on their hanging out. But I was like, no, I need to watch this. And so I like went from what I was doing in the middle of them like watching this video. I was like, no.
Sat in the middle of them on the couch.
literally. I sat right next to him and I popped it on and we were watching. And then my brother and I made a bet on whether or not he was going to cry. And I won because I said he wasn't going to cry, because my theory was that if it was live, maybe, but I don't think any sane human being would release a pre-recorded video of them crying. That's like almost like the leave Britney alone type of thing. Which, by the way, that was the first Free Britney guy ever.
For sure.
That guy started the Free Britney movement. He gets no credit.
No credit at all.
No credit. What was his name? Chris something?
Fuck. Yes, it was Chris something.
Chris something. But the thing that I thought was, like you said the Chris thing was delusional.
Yeah.
And I agree, because it's like, first of all, dude, first of all, we said this before when last year, literally like a year ago when we talked about this the first time. And we kind of just outlined all the situation as far as everyone knew. And I think we took a very reasoned stance. Mm-hmm. And then after that, he just didn't say anything for literally a year, which is an old school form of publicity. Because back in the day, it was just newspapers spreading news, right? And so if people didn't say anything, then newspapers would just drop it and go to the next thing.
Yeah,
and so
they have nothing to use.
Yeah. And so publicists would always just tell you, like, look, if you get in some type of scandal or controversy, just lay low, stay in your room for like 3 months. It'll blow over. People will forget. And then you can kind of peep your head back onto the scene. And by then there'll be more stuff to talk about. But that doesn't really work in this day and age, you know? Like people are still tweeting about it online, and like the second you pop in, everybody knows you're back. And it's like you make a video and it's like, dude, the fact that you didn't say anything after a year, and the fact that after a year you go on and you basically apologize not for what anybody was mad at you about. You apologize like nobody was mad you were fucking a lot of chicks. Like, can you imagine Drake or Future or Motley Crue
came out and was like, yeah, I'm a sex addict and like, I'm sorry.
It's like, dude, everyone knows famous people fuck chicks. Like, I cannot imagine any other celebrity, any rapper, any rock star going to be like, geez, every time I went into a new city, I was just always fucking girls. It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what probably most celebrities do. I would imagine if you pull up into a city and there's 50 DMs, and myself personally, if I wasn't like in a relationship, probably would look through those DMs and be like, okay, here's the ones I'll reply to. Like, that's what any normal guy, not normal, but I think there's a lot of guys that would do that. And provenly, a lot of guys have done that. Dude, nobody was mad at you about that. We didn't ask you to apologize for getting pussy.
Yeah.
It's not what we were mad about.
Yeah.
It's not anybody was mad.
No one was mad about that, dude.
Like after a year, that's what he came up with. He was like, well, maybe I'll just apologize for fucking
Maybe
too
we'll
much.
just forget about the other shit.
But overall, I mean, look, it did seem like I personally, if he comes out with more podcast episodes, which, and there's a funny clip I'll watch. I really don't fucking care. If nothing illegal happened about. It's just like the same thing with the Louis thing. It's like, it's weird. It's weird. Like the weirdest thing was
I
like,
feel like it's a little. Well, I don't know. Like It's been a while since like I've looked at any of the allegations and shit. But like, wasn't it? He was like sending dick pics to like underage girls, wasn't it?
I don't think he was sending dick pics to them. He was definitely just like, look, a lot of it, for anybody who's unaware of the situation, a lot of it was like, it first came out with a tweet. Some girl released a tweet. I think it was a screenshot of either their text conversation or a Snapchat conversation, which Chris D'Elia was not aware that they saved Snapchats, apparently. That like he was talking to her and then she released it kind of being like, I was under 18 at the time this conversation took place. And my first thought, admittedly, was, well, did he know that? That's an important detail to list.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm a dude who goes to a city and is playing shows and I have 50 girls hitting me up to hang out after the show, and I see an attractive girl and an attractive girl walks up to me after the show and wants to hang out with me, and I'm talking to you and I get your number or whatever, and then I find out after the fact that like either you didn't say you were 18, or I guess you would have to ask. I don't know. But as far as I know, they never actually wound up hooking up or anything like that. The weirdest thing was I think somebody else came out and said like, yeah, I met him when I was 17. He knew I was 17 when I met him. And so he literally just kind of ghosted me. And then a year later when I turned 18, he's hit me up. That was like, okay. That was like, what?
Oh my God.
You know what I'm
dude.
saying? So like that's kind of where it's like really crosses into dangerous territory. But like at worst, like none of this, he swore up and down that all of his relationships were legal and consensual. And honestly, I am inclined to believe that. I'm inclined to think that if he was aware that a girl was underage, he wouldn't have gone through with it. Mainly because any sane person would have to be aware that in the position they are in society, like how known they are, that's going to get out. And why, even if you really wanted to, it's like, dude, you could fuck 50 girls any city and you're going to pick the fucking 7. Why?
Yeah.
Go find a hot 25-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's the weirdest
can't be that hard.
Because it's like, dude, you're bragging that you're getting 50 DMs each time you land in a city. Just fucking go with the age appropriate one.
Yeah,
You're
dude.
like 40 years old.
You have something that most guys don't have, which is options. Options, dude. I can't imagine having all the options you have and still making that mistake. I can understand if a lesser known comedian made it. It's like, look, only 2 chicks hit me up. One was 18. One was a really ugly 35-year-old. It's like, what am I going to do? Like, bend the rules a little. But you have options, dude. That's what really pissed me off, But at the end of the day, if it turns out that it's just another one of these scenarios where it's just weird. It's just weird. There's a very fine line between weird and illegal, It's
Yeah.
just weird. And so, like, he's going to have to bear that cross and try to somehow release. How do you release your first episode? That's the difference between what Louis did and what he did.
Yeah. Wasn't his podcast called like Celebration before?
Congratulations.
Too? Or Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that still going to be the title? Congratulations.
This is going to change it to be sorry to
You've
hear
been
about your luck.
outed as a creep.
See, that's the like or dislike Louis C.K. But when he came out of nowhere, after no one had heard from him for so long, he left the country. He met a woman in France or whatever the hell he was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And when he came back on his special, he addressed it, but he addressed it in the way a comedian would address it. He worked it into his act. And a lot of people, like we talked about that with Ben Smith when he was on the podcast, and Ben was saying like, well, just the fact that he talked about it kind of like whatever. And I was like, well, people would have been just as mad if he just brushed over it and never acted like it happened. Like if he just came back and just decided not to talk about it at all, people would have been mad about that. So it's like he found a way to address it, but not address it in a way where it made it like weird. You know what I'm saying? Like he addressed it in like his way, a funny way. And so at that point, as a fan or a watcher, a viewer, you got to decide, okay, do I accept his, like what he says about this story? And am I willing to move on and continue supporting him, or do I not? But he gave people that option.
Yeah.
Chris D'Elia comes out after a year and gives an 8-minute long, very serious, awkward, like cringy type of apology that didn't even really address the things that people were even mad about.
Yeah.
And then what does he do? Did he just make an episode next week? Like nothing
Yeah.
happened?
And still just be like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Does his,
What?
Yeah. It's like all of a sudden your drunk girl voice, dude.
Yeah, why did you sound so young?
It hits differently. Yeah. It's different. Your drunk girl voice hits different. Yeah. But I was hoping you watched that because I was actually gonna text you today and be like, yo, in case you haven't watched this, because I definitely wanted
that
to.
shit was so fucking wild.
That was something the
It was
fuck
like
else.
10 minutes too.
Yeah, it was
Crazy.
it was a little long, and a little too many pauses. Pause. I will say he definitely did better towards the end.
he got out of the hole.
Yeah.
He really picked up towards the end.
By the end of it, I was like,
his
okay.
finisher, his closing joke really fucking knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. And I say this as a person who, I think we were both on the same page. Like, neither one of us were ever big D'Elia heads.
Yeah.
But, like, I enjoyed him as a comic from time to time. And like I said before, I don't personally care all that much either way unless some, like, very hard-hitting, like, verifiable shit comes out that he was lying about his recount of the whole situation.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that, like, in terms of the public view, maybe the weird cringy apology isn't the best way to go. I think that's been proven. I think publicists need to update their game a little bit.
Yeah,
And how
for
they
sure.
like, you need to understand that, dude.
Also, he might not even have a publicist anymore. All of his agents and everyone dropped him.
That's true. He might not. Because if I was his publicist, I would have said, dude, you gotta double down. Like, you gotta fucking Justin Bieber it. You gotta fucking go out, like you said, about how Justin Bieber handled his situation, about like putting up his own transcripts with the conversation. This is what happened. This is how I met you. This is the talks we had. We never hooked up. Ba 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 ba. That's how you gotta do it, dude. You gotta ratio your accuser. Is
For
really
sure.
Or else you lose. That's the rules of the internet. I don't make them.
Well, if you don't do that, it's like you're kind of guilty.
You're guilty.
Because also, like, I feel like at a certain point, when you're famous enough and you're making enough money, you have an alibi for everything because your life is so scheduled and like regimented, if that's even that word.
I think regimented is the word.
Perfect.
It's the perfect word.
But yeah, it's like that's why Justin was like, "Yo, here's the receipt. We weren't even at that hotel. This is my Airbnb we were at.
Yeah.
Here's actually me on security footage we got from the place that I was doing an appearance at. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Here's the timestamp. I could not have raped you, or like whatever the shit was.
Could not have raped you.
But yeah, it's like, come on, man.
Can you imagine
A 10-minute like melodramatic like I fuck a lot speech? No one was talking about
It
that.
literally did sound like a rap lyric. Like he was like, I roll into a city, I got 50 DMs in my inbox. I was like, damn, son, that's hard. That's hard.
It's hard.
Just imagining fucking Tommy Lee from Motley Crue. Like, I can't believe how many chicks I fucked in the 80s. Oh my God. Oh no, dude. Sorry about your luck. Yeah, but when you're a celebrity, your life is submerged. Like if I was accused of something, what would I have? As you can
at the
see,
studio.
I was at
Do you have
Dunkin'.
any, way to prove that? Well, I do have a save file, but I think I forgot to save, so there's not a timestamp for today on it. But,
Also, my computer automatically turns off a lot and autosaves, so it could have been me not there. I have this receipt from the Exxon that says I bought a pack of cigarettes at this time, but that was yesterday. And there's no way I could have smoked that many cigarettes, Your Honor, by the time I had sexual relations with that woman. She wouldn't have fucked me. She wouldn't have fucked me if I had smoked 15 cigarettes that day, Your Honor.
who am I, Chris D'Elia? She wouldn't have fucked me.
She wouldn't have fucked me in a studio with no bathroom. I doubt it. Case closed. Yeah, dude.
Jeez.
What are you gonna do?